Blueface, born Jonathan Jamal Porter on January 20th, 1997, in Los Angeles, California, grew up between Mid-City and Santa Clarita Valley. His early life was marked by the rough terrain of LA's gang culture and a fractured household that would later define much of his music. Raised primarily by his mother, Blueface often found himself shifting between homes, eventually moving in with his father during his teenage years. As a kid, his main interest wasn't music but football. He was a promising quarterback, standing over 6 feet tall and leading his high school team at Arleta High School in the San Fernando Valley. He earned some recognition for his talent and even received a scholarship to play at Fayetteville State University in North Carolina. However, he dropped out shortly after, citing a lack of interest and structure. This decision, though seemingly impulsive, set him on an unexpected path toward fame. After returning to California, Blueface lived a relatively unstable lifestyle. He took odd jobs, stayed with friends, and occasionally slept in his car. But in 2017, everything changed when he visited a studio to support a friend and ended up trying the mic himself. That moment became the catalyst for his rap career. He adopted the stage name Blueface Bleed'em, a reference to his affiliation with the Schoolyard Crips, and began posting music on SoundCloud and Instagram. What made him stand out wasn't lyrical prowess, but his offbeat, almost disjointed flow. Many critics and fans labeled it off-time, but Blueface embraced the uniqueness. His high-pitched voice, gang-related lyrics, and comedic music videos quickly drew attention. His breakthrough came in 2018 with the viral success of his track Respect My Crippin'. The video, which featured Blueface rapping in front of a high school and flashing Crip hand signs, became a meme on social media. The rapper's unusual delivery style became a topic of debate across hip-hop platforms. Some praised him for bringing something new to the table, while others mocked his lack of rhythm. But in the age of viral content, any attention is good attention. Blueface leaned into the jokes, often trolling himself online and participating in memes. This sense of self-awareness only fueled his fame. Not long after, Blueface signed with Cash Money West, a division of Birdman's Cash Money Record. Under this label, his career surged. In early 2019, he released Thotiana, a club anthem that combined his signature style with an infectious beat. The song took over TikTok and eventually landed on the Billboard Hot 100. Remixes featuring Cardi B and YG pushed the song even further, earning him national recognition. Suddenly, Blueface was everywhere, from late-night shows to interviews, from fashion shoots to sold-out performances. He had become a rap phenomenon, but with fame came scrutiny. Critics questioned his authenticity and staying power. Was he a one-hit wonder or the future of hip-hop? Interviews often revealed his lack of formal training or lyrical depth, but Blueface didn't pretend to be something he wasn't. He proudly represented the streets of LA and stayed loyal to his roots. His music revolved around money, women, and gang culture, topics familiar to many young rappers, but always presented with his unique flair. His online presence, especially on Instagram, became a platform not only for music, but for chaos. He would post unfiltered content, arguments, lavish purchases, and behind-the-scenes peeks into his dramatic personal life. Around this time, Blueface also began appearing in viral videos for reasons outside of music. He was seen evicting his mother and sister from his home during a live stream. While he claimed it was due to disrespect toward his then-girlfriend, fans were shocked at the rawness of the footage. These public family disputes highlighted the growing divide between Blueface's fame and his personal stability. But controversy, as always, fueled engagement. Rather than fall from grace, Blueface became a spectacle, one people couldn't stop watching. He also launched a series called Blue Girls Club, a reality show-style project that took place inside his mansion, where he housed several women under one roof, all vying for his attention. Critics called it exploitative and misogynistic, comparing it to a low-budget version of Flavor of Love mixed with Bad Girls Club. But again, the shock factor worked. The YouTube series amassed millions of views and cemented his reputation as a polarizing but influential online figure. Throughout 2020 and into 2021, Blueface continued to drop music, though none of his later tracks reached the same commercial peak as Thotiana. Still, He maintained a loyal fan base and leveraged his fame into business ventures and social media dominance. He was now as much an internet personality as he was a rapper, often trending for wild antics rather than music. But the line between entertainment and reality began to blur, especially as his personal life, particularly his relationship with rising rapper Chrisean Rock, started to dominate headlines. Their connection was chaotic, intense, and constantly documented across live streams and interviews. They fought publicly, loved openly, and became one of the most talked about couples in hip-hop for all the wrong reasons. By the time 2023 rolled around, Blueface's name had become synonymous with viral controversy. His early charm and novelty had given way to concern. Fans and critics alike began to ask, was this all an act, or was Blueface unraveling in plain sight? His rise was fast and flashy, built on the back of internet virality and unapologetic authenticity. But fame, especially the kind built on spectacle, always comes at a cost. And for Blueface, the cracks were starting to show. The story of Blueface and Chrisean Rock is one of the most volatile and publicized relationships in modern hip-hop culture. What began as a mentorship under the chaotic roof of Blue Girls Club quickly transformed into an emotionally charged and often dangerous romance that played out in front of millions. Chrisean Rock, born Chrisean Malone in 2000, entered Blueface's orbit as one of the contestants in his reality series. She was fierce, outspoken, and raw, a perfect match for the unfiltered universe Blueface had created. Her time in the house was marked by physical altercations, dramatic moments, and a visible attachment to Blueface that transcended competition. Before long, she was no longer just a participant, she was the headline. As the show wrapped up and Blueface continued his music career, Chrisean remained in his life. The lines between business, romance, and manipulation began to blur. She got a tattoo of Blueface's face on her neck, followed by several more across her body. She started going by Chrisean Rock, and Blueface openly supported her entry into music, even giving her a chain and a spot in his crew. On the surface, it looked like a budding music duo, a Bonnie and Clyde pair with wild energy and raw talent. But behind the scenes, their relationship was anything but harmonious. Videos of their heated arguments began surfacing online. One infamous video from 2022 showed the two physically fighting on the streets of Hollywood, each accusing the other of betrayal, lies, and cheating. While Blueface played the role of the nonchalant boyfriend online, Chrisean often appeared deeply emotionally involved. She would break down on live streams, threaten to leave him, then appear with him days later, smiling as if nothing had happened. The cycle repeated itself over and over: fight, breakup, apology, reunion. And with each new public spat, their follower counts and media coverage grew. For many fans, the situation was a disturbing spectacle. Domestic violence advocates raised concerns, noting signs of a toxic relationship fueled by trauma, control, and codependency. But in the social media era, dysfunction often turns into content, and content turns into currency. Chrisean's music started to gain traction, mostly fueled by her chaotic public image. Songs like Vibe showed flashes of potential, and she began performing at small shows while still tied to Blueface's management. But the drama never stayed behind the curtain. In multiple live streams, Chrisean accused Blueface of physical abuse, only to deny it later or blame herself. Blueface, on the other hand, frequently mocked her online, posting videos of their fights and dissing her in tweets and interviews. It became clear that their relationship wasn't just struggling, it was dangerous. Then came the pregnancy. In early 2023, Chrisean announced she was expecting Blueface's child. Instead of joy or unity, the announcement triggered more online warfare. Blueface denied paternity, insulted her in interviews, and said she was unfit to be a mother. Chrisean, heartbroken yet determined, stood her ground, insisting that she would raise the child with or without his support. This further divided fans. Some urged her to leave and find healing, while others accused Blueface of emotional and verbal abuse. Their clashes escalated when Chrisean allegedly hit Blueface in the head with a bottle during a party. Shortly after, Blueface was seen with a black eye. Days later, Chrisean posted tearful videos claiming she was sorry, that she had blacked out, and that she loved him more than anyone. Blueface responded by publicly ridiculing her. The pattern was now undeniable. Violence, apology, repeat their story had morphed from a hip-hop love saga into a psychological case study of modern toxic relationships in the spotlight. Fans, bloggers, and even therapists began analyzing their behavior in videos. Some blamed Blueface's manipulation, others pointed to Chrisean's trauma. But the truth lay somewhere in between. Both were products of broken environments. Both were chasing validation, and both were addicted to the drama their relationship produced. Despite the chaos, they remained connected through music, through media, and through pain. By mid-2023, it had become clear that whatever they had was no longer sustainable. But the damage had been done, not just to each other, but to the public's understanding of what love looks like when distorted by fame, money, and trauma. Even before Blueface's 2023 arrest made national headlines, his brushes with the law had long been a part of his narrative. His rise in the rap industry was shadowed by a series of troubling incidents that painted a picture of a man constantly teetering between stardom and self-destruction. From his earliest days as a viral rapper, Blueface's street affiliations were no secret. He openly repped the schoolyard crypt, flashing signs in his music videos and referencing gang life in his lyrics. For some fans, this authenticity was part of his appeal, but for others, it signaled a danger that would eventually catch up to him, and it did. One of Blueface's earliest legal run-ins occurred in 2018 when he was arrested for felony gun possession after being caught with an unregistered loaded firearm. The case was resolved quietly compared to what would follow in the years ahead, but it set a precedent. Blueface wasn't just controversial online, he was attracting attention from law enforcement too. In 2021, things escalated further. A video surfaced showing a violent altercation at his home during one of his infamous Blue Girls Club episodes. The footage revealed Blueface physically restraining a woman who appeared to be trying to leave. While no charges were filed, critics slammed the incident as a red flag. Domestic violence advocates called for platforms to stop promoting his content, but his audience kept growing. As the chaos in his home life with Chrisean Rock intensified, so did his legal troubles. Their constant live-streamed fights led to increased scrutiny, and by mid-2022, Las Vegas police had already been investigating Blueface for a separate case that would later explode into national news. That fall, Blueface was arrested outside Lolo's Chicken and Waffles in Las Vegas in connection with an attempted murder investigation. Footage of the arrest showed plainclothes officers tackling him to the ground as onlookers gasped. According to police reports, Blueface had allegedly fired a weapon at a man outside a Las Vegas strip club earlier that month. The victim claimed that Blueface and his entourage had followed him after a verbal dispute and fired multiple shots, hitting the victim's hand. Blueface was booked into Clark County Detention Center and held on charges of attempted murder with a deadly weapon and discharging a firearm into an occupied structure. The gravity of the charges stunned even those familiar with his controversial past. Suddenly, the antics of a wild rapper weren't just reckless, they were criminal. As Blueface sat behind bars awaiting bail, social media lit up. Some fans defended him, claiming it was self-defense or that he was being targeted due to his fame. Others expressed no surprise, pointing to his growing instability and long-standing proximity to violence. Chrisean Rock, ever the enigma, responded emotionally to the arrest. She took to social media to defend him, post bail updates, and even visit him in jail. Her loyalty, despite their public fights, was unwavering. She posted videos crying outside the courthouse and wrote cryptic messages on Instagram suggesting that she would always stand by his side. To many, it was another disturbing chapter in a relationship that had already crossed every boundary of toxicity. Eventually, Blueface was released on $50,000 bail and ordered to appear in court for a preliminary hearing. Prosecutors laid out surveillance footage, witness testimony, and ballistic evidence pointing to his involvement in the shooting. Blueface's legal team argued that the incident had been blown out of proportion and painted him as the real victim. But even as the case played out in courtrooms, Blueface's behavior remained erratic. Just months after his release, he was arrested again, this time on robbery charges. According to reports, he had forcibly taken a fan's phone after being filmed without consent. While not as serious as attempted murder, the new charge reinforced a pattern. Blueface was spiraling. In parallel, his relationship with Chrisean remained in the headlines. After his arrest, their dynamic seemed to worsen. Videos emerged of more public arguments, physical altercations, and erratic behavior from both sides. Blueface would sometimes mock her online, calling her crazy and questioning the paternity of her unborn child. Chrisean, in turn, posted emotional breakdowns, photos of bruises and promises to change, but neither seemed willing or able to leave. The dysfunction had become their brand and their prison. In interviews, Blueface began to brush off his legal troubles with bravado. He claimed everything was under control, that he would beat the charges, and that jail wasn't new to him. He continued releasing music sporadically, though it rarely gained the traction of his earlier hits. What fans noticed most was the change in his demeanor. He looked tired, angry, and increasingly paranoid. The once goofy, offbeat rapper who had embraced memes and danced in high school hallways now looked like a man under siege by the courts, by the media, and by himself. Critics started raising a larger question. How had things gotten this far? Many pointed to the exploitation of trauma for clicks. Blueface and Chrisean had been encouraged, if not rewarded, for their chaos. Platforms monetized their pain. Fans tuned in like it was reality TV. But the consequences were real: legal, physical, emotional. By the end of 2023, Blueface wasn't just a rapper with a criminal record. He had become a symbol of how fame, if built on instability, can destroy from within. And the law wasn't done with him yet. The attempted murder case remained open, his robbery charge was pending, and whispers of other investigations swirled in the background. Would he find a way to turn things around, or was he already too deep in the spiral? The next chapter of Blueface's story would answer that. The turning point in Blueface's already troubled public life came in late 2022, when he was arrested and charged with attempted murder. The incident that led to this serious charge unfolded outside a Las Vegas strip club where Blueface and a group of associates were involved in an altercation with another man. According to the victim and surveillance footage later submitted to the court, Blueface allegedly pulled out a firearm and shot at the man as he attempted to flee. One bullet struck the victim in the hand. It was a moment that moved Blueface's troubles from online spectacle to life-altering criminal territory. When footage of the arrest emerged, showing plainclothes detectives swarming him outside Lolo's Chicken and Waffles, the public realized this was no prank or viral stunt. This was real. Las Vegas authorities stated that the shooting stemmed from an argument that began inside the strip club. The victim claimed he was attacked after making what Blueface and his entourage considered a disrespectful comment. Witnesses said the confrontation escalated quickly. Words were exchanged. Temper flared. And once the argument spilled into the parking lot, it turned violent. Video from nearby security cameras showed the chaotic scene, people running, shouts ringing out, and then the sound of gunfire. The man who was shot was lucky to be alive, but that didn't lessen the severity of the charge. Attempted murder in Nevada is a Class B felony, and if convicted, Blueface could face decades behind bars. Blueface's arrest sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world. For some, it confirmed their worst fears, that the young rapper was too immersed in street life to escape it. For others, it was a sobering moment that revealed just how quickly fame can unravel when poor decisions and violent environments collide. As Blueface sat in a Nevada jail cell awaiting arraignment, his team quickly moved to secure his release. A $50,000 bail was posted, and he was freed within days, though strict court conditions were placed upon him. He was to remain in Nevada, avoid any further altercations, and refrain from contact with witnesses involved in the case. While Blueface was physically free, the looming legal battle weighed heavily. Prosecutors released partial footage and statements that they claimed proved Blueface's direct involvement in the shooting. His legal team pushed back, arguing that the victim had provoked the encounter and that Blueface acted in self-defense. They also claimed the evidence was circumstantial and that the surveillance video didn't clearly show him pulling the trigger. But the most damaging evidence came from Blueface himself. Days after the incident, he had posted a video online, joking about making people disappear and threatening unnamed individuals. Prosecutors argued these posts indicated a mindset of aggression and recklessness, traits that aligned with the nature of the crime. Meanwhile, Chrisean Rock publicly supported him throughout the ordeal. She visited him during his detainment and posted emotional messages urging fans to pray for his release. She claimed he was misunderstood and being targeted for his fame, but her words did little to change the public perception. Their relationship had already been riddled with allegations of abuse, manipulation, and emotional instability. Now, with a violent felony charge hanging over his head, Blueface's public image was spiraling. Despite the pressure, he tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy. He posted videos on social media, teased new music, and appeared in interviews, acting unfazed. But it was clear something had shifted. The carefree attitude that once made him endearing was now seen as tone-deaf. Fans began to question if Blueface understood the seriousness of the charges. Every public statement, every social media post, and every appearance was dissected for signs of remorse, or the lack thereof. As the case moved through the legal system, Blueface was granted continuances, but the evidence continued to mount. Witnesses were interviewed, forensic reports were compiled. The victim remained cooperative, attending hearings and pushing for justice. Behind the scenes, Blueface's legal team explored the possibility of a plea deal, hoping to avoid a lengthy trial and the potential of a double-digit sentence. However, the prosecution appeared determined to make an example out of him. For them, this wasn't just about a rapper. It was about public safety, accountability, and drawing the line between celebrity and criminal behavior. By the end of 2023, Blueface was in legal limbo. The trial date had yet to be finalized, but the pressure was undeniable. His music releases slowed down, collaborations dried up, even his once lucrative brand deals faded as companies distanced themselves from his name. What remained was a fractured image of a man once celebrated for breaking rap rules, but now potentially paying the ultimate price for living recklessly in the real world. By early 2024, Blueface's world had shifted from fame and flash to legal battles and public fallout. His career, once powered by viral hits and a controversial relationship with Chrisean Rock, was now overshadowed by criminal charges and a series of public meltdowns. The attempted murder case in Las Vegas remained unresolved, and new trouble had surfaced. Another arrest, this time for robbery. He had allegedly snatched a phone from a fan who tried to record him, an incident that seemed small compared to his past, but still added to the growing pattern of violence and instability. At the same time, Blueface's relationship with Chrisean Rock, which had long been chaotic, entered a new and painful chapter. In late 2023, Chrisean gave birth to their child. Instead of unity, the event became another source of conflict. Blueface denied paternity, ridiculed her online, and questioned her ability to be a mother. Chrisean posted emotional videos defending herself, showing the ongoing toll the relationship had taken. Their personal drama continued to unfold in front of millions, with the child now caught in the storm. Fans, once entertained by their antics, now began to express concern. What was once seen as dramatic entertainment had become clearly toxic and destructive. Meanwhile, Blueface's music took a back seat. New releases failed to chart. Industry collaborators stopped calling. His social media remained active, but mostly focused on rants, trolling, or self-defense. The rapper who once dominated memes and music platforms had become more known for his court appearances and volatile outbursts. Though he tried to maintain relevance, it was evident that the fame he had once enjoyed was slipping away. Legal experts watching the attempted murder case noted the seriousness of the charges. Though his team pushed for a plea deal, prosecutors were under pressure to hold him accountable. With growing public frustration over celebrity privilege, the court seemed unlikely to let him off easily. Blueface faced real prison time, and the case remained active as 2024 continued. Beyond the courtroom, the narrative around Blueface began to shift. No longer just a rapper or reality show figure, he became a cautionary example. Analysts pointed out the way social media, fame, and trauma had created a cycle of self-destruction. Some saw him as a villain. Others saw a young man chewed up by the very system that made him famous. In the end, Blueface stood at a crossroad, fighting for freedom, for relevance, and for redemption. Whether he would find any of it remained uncertain. But what was clear was this: the chaos that once made him a star now threatened to erase everything he had built.